Well, welcome to the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. Hopefully, by the sound of that pounding surf, if you do hear it over the breeze, the sea breeze, you'll gather I'm down on the beach. Well, get that sense of freedom on the beach when you get some beach fishing, don't you? But it wasn't freedom this morning. It was a horrendous journey of traffic. And the normal method of getting into this mark, they got barriers down, you can't get in there, so I had to park somewhere else and walk absolutely miles. Anyway, I'm here now. I'm just going to show you the beach. Already got the rods out. Hey ho, I'm running so late, it's ridiculous. I left it just after 9 in the morning and bait's out at 25 to 1 in the afternoon. Let's take a walk. Come with me. Okay guys, well I haven't bought the big camera, I bought the small camera and I've got another little handheld in there as well. I want to just show you along here. It's an absolutely fabulous day. Just check this out. This is what you call a blue sky. Blue, blue, blue. A couple other guys down there fishing. And that, believe it or not, is my view of the day. And normally I would be probably either out there, or there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats out there. I could well be out there in my boat, but unfortunately my boat is at the boat hospital. Or hopefully it'll be ready for the shark season anyway. So I'm just going to do some shore fishing. Now here, look, you can see here's a lovely semicircular beach there. Get this up high so you can have a good look. There you go. Nice big curve there. You can see it goes all the way around. I've got some rocks over there as well. Feature down by that groin. A little bit of weed down here. There's obviously weed, as you can see, down on the high tide line. Now the tide was up at about 10:30. So I'm well past high water by about 3 hours. Hasn't dropped that much. Now they're what they call long tides, spring tides, so there should be quite a bit of movement in the water. I don't want too much because there's a lot of weed around this area and a big tide's up on the point. That'll drag all this weed down. Basically what I'm doing is I'm fishing the ebb down. I'm going to be for slack water. I'm going to fish the flood up. Fingers crossed from the late afternoon onwards, maybe 5 o'clock, I may have a chance of a fish. And this is what I'm fishing. I've got base camp set up here. I've got my luxury chair there. You can see my luxury chair. World famous, repaired, but light to carry. I'm using fixed ball reels here. You can see the fixed balls there. And I've got my shotgun, my trusty shotgun rod there. Up the middle. It's a spinning rod. Hey, what was that noise? You carp guys might have recognised that noise. What have I got going on here? Here is something different. I've been using this carp fishing, and this is and tench fishing as well. And this is the first time I've made out. Wait for this, out of an old piece of bathroom towel rail, drilled it out the middle so it takes a thread here, glued in here with araldite. I've got to beef it up. It's already come out once. My buzzer bars, some nuts. I just glued some nuts in there that are the same thread as I use on my freshwater bar, and I've got this nice and high. I want to try buzzers. Look. Here for beach fishing, and I can tension up. I don't know if you guys are going to hear this. Let me take the mic off. Little tug, look, 2 inches. So if I do get a fish, like a bass, yeah, bass. I think that's going to happen on a bright blue sky like this. If there's an outside chance of a decent smooth hound, I'm going to be fishing for anything. Small schoolie bass, flatfish, might be the odd whiting around. I sort of doubt it. Well, I sort of doubt there's anything around bright sky like this, but you never really know. So fingers crossed, if I do get a real rod wrenching pull and I'm looking away at the time, rather than lose the rods, I've got this here to give me an audible alarm. Just gives me that second or two before the rod launches itself into the water, because smooth hounds are known to absolutely crash it. Had a couple of nibbles up there, but I feel they're crabs. So I'm giving it half an hour, and then I'm going to wind in, check the baits. And if they're getting crabbed too much, then I will obviously shorten the time that out there that the bait's on the water. What a day. So although I'm falling around, although I'm walking and talking, guys, I've actually got only the length of this 1 metre umbilical cord, I'm going to call it. Assuming that plugs in there and working. Hopefully you can hear this. So at least I can move around a little bit. And what I will do if I do get a hook up a decent fish, I'll either put the head cam on or just run this and we'll play some music over it. Got my own music. Tighten that up a bit. Let's show you the bait. Now, hot weather, obviously no bait lasts long in hot weather, so I've got this really manky old cool bag. And in there, I haven't dug them, I've been to buy them. Got a pound of rag there. So depending how the crabs are attacking it out there, I'm going to give it another 15 minutes or so and wheel one of those rods in and then start piling the bait out bigger. So keep those cool, but make sure that you don't actually get ice blocks on the ragworm itself. I've got a few sand eels as well. I like sand eel and rag combos, I really do. So I've got some decent, well, they've been frozen twice, they're not decent. And then I've got some extremely rank ones here, which I'll go in 100% whether they're on a hook or not. They've had their sell by date. I bought myself, I know I had to sit down myself worrying about it. I actually bought myself some squid. I'm going to try get one of these thawed out. In fact, I'm going to leave one out at the moment in the sun, get that thawed out, but leave the rest in the cool box. Down here I've got some of those frozen blocks, look, keep everything cool because if I don't use it, it can go back. And in here, wait for this, I just got, what the hell is that? Anybody recognise them? Just regular crabs, small crabs that I'm using. They're hardback crabs. I just froze them live. I chilled them out, froze them down. I'm going to put those on as well because if there is a smooth hound out there, there's always a chance of getting one. So I've got plenty of crabs there, and I've got a feeling I've got plenty of crabs, to be honest, out there chewing my baits. Another little pointer, keep that cool. I'll tell you what I do, this is all these little tips, right? Obviously, get yourself a hand white rag, right? On a hot day, I like to take a white one because I can put that over the cool bag there, like this, and it reflects a lot of heat away. I'm going to be cutting that squid up in a minute, so make sure you get yourself a block of wood. Yes, I brought this piece of wood with me in case there's no flat wood here. That way I don't blunt my knife cutting on a stone. Piece of old scrap wood, and you can cut and strip baits up as well. And not much weed, that's another plus factor. Down here can be horrendous weed. At the moment, there's not much tide, that's not a good sign, but there's also not much weed. And I guess the reason the crabs are out, I guess there's no smooth hounds around to eat them. Or could it be that the smooth hounds are going to come to eat those crabs? Well, you've probably gathered by the fact that I've moved well down the beach that about 3 hours have passed, totally fishless, biteless, but alas, the crabs have dined in a superb manner. Squid, other crabs, their brethren, frozen or otherwise, they don't care. Sand eels, and of course the nice expensive ragworm. I love feeding crabs, expensive ragworm, but man alive, what a day. So I've moved all my gear down because even though I'm high up there, the angle of the line is catching in the waves at the bottom, and that's a tip worth knowing. The tide is still falling. I've got maybe an hour and a half of low tide to go before I get dead low, and then I've got another hour and a half coming back up in. So I've got this spot for about 3 hours. Hour and a half down, bit of slack, hour and a half up, but I don't want my line catching in the weed close in the margins. Luckily there's no weed out deep by the present the present time there's not. Whether that will change when the tide changes, I don't know. But anyway, I got to thinking about more tips, because basically I've had sort of a little bit of that. I've had about 20 minutes of that. It's lovely. Woke up to bare hooks, but I can afford to do that because I got that buzzer on, and that's been brilliant. You know, I've only got to barely touch a line, beep 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 beep, away it goes. But let me show you what I mean about casting. It's just a tip when you've got line of different diameters, a shock leader, which you should use, and your regular reel line. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, I hope you're going to see this. This is, I'm holding the reel around the camera. Now listen, normally you would have your fishing line here, which will be, in this case, let's say 15 pound, that's handy premium. And then I've got my shock leader there that I'm just winding on in yellow. It could be 50, 60, 70, whatever you fancy. Now you can buy tapered shock leaders that are very thin, so you have a smaller knot, but you're still going to have a knot there, you see. Now if that knot is laid on the reel there, we'll say, and then I just regularly wind up, ready to cast. Look, there's my lead. So I get the right length that I want to cast. When this flies off, you can see the knot there. I'm hoping you can see the knot there. I'm around the other side of the camera, do the best I can. This wrap, this side, can twang onto that and jam. It won't do it now because I'm obviously doing it to try and show you, but it can catch like this, just there. You can see the crossover there, and it invariably will happen on, wait for this, the last wrap of line, like that. That hopefully will show you. Crack, away you go, you've lost a lot. So what I do, it just takes a second or two, is I put this right down, so I can turn that round for you, right down the bottom there. Hopefully, again, you'll see it, and then I just put some turns around the reel like this, just about a few millimeters. Now, this might take, as long as it takes me to talk to you, doing this, let's say 30 seconds. Let's push it and say, Graham, you've been talking for 45 seconds. Let me assure you, just doing this for 45 seconds and getting a cast and getting a bait in the water is much, much easier than actually tackling up again after a crack off, baiting up again, losing the rig, losing the lead, losing everything. Now you can see there, hopefully, that the knot is at the bottom. All these layers will fly off first. I can wind up to whatever length I want there. There you can see, there I get a lovely, beautiful English blue sky. Hopefully you can see that, guys, there. My bait is ready to go out, in this case, half squid, half strips of mackerel. And I have to say, although I'm doing this, this bottom one there has been chewed up. I'm just going to leave it. These other two haven't. That could be a turning point for me. Maybe the crabs are easing off. There you go. I'm going to cast this one out, and I'll probably come in and check the others as well. A little tip there for you. Hopefully it'll stop you cracking off. If you don't crack off, you save money. And of course, more bait in the water time should mean more fish. Right, away we go. Now, the wind is picking up, guys, so you might or might not get wind in the mic and a noise, but you can see over there where those rocks are. I'm going to try and cast just out to the left of there. And this is only my shotgun rod. This is just a spinning rod, but it looks like I'm down here. If you can look here, you can see the shingle here, and look how, if I get down there, you can see just down here how it's all going to sand. Oopsie, let's not get a bootful. So you've got this nice sand here, so I'm figuring there's a chance now of a fish. Out we go. It's only going to go 40, 50 yards, and that's where I want it. It's on a 3-hook silly rig, what's called a silly rig, just like a 3-hook flapper really, but very short. Going to feed it back, walk back the line, feed it off as you go. Go under the other rod, back that drag off, always. Make sure you've got a bit of give in the line. So that one's just sitting there now. That's on a plain lead, that's not on a grip lead, but the big boys here are on grip leads. I've got a feeling I'm going to check this one again. Here, listen, you hear this? I can crank this right up. If I show you there, barely got to touch it, look, barely got to touch it. Somebody should invent this buzzer bar with a wide cup for beach reels. Patent it and send all the money to me. Now what I'm doing is I'm popping a ragworm, going to put 2 on this time, all the way over the hook and up the line. Because I've wound that other line in, and I just feel, although this one was stripped, maybe there's a touch fewer crabs out than there was. Then I'm going to put a crab on there. These are just frozen crabs. Roll it round, skewer it in the middle. A bonus piece of squid. Then I'm folding that back, leaving that hook point clear. Let's see if I can get some thread for you. Then I get some elasticated thread, some bait thread, and I bind everything together. Squid, ragworm, the lot. And you can see the crabs there. What I do is try, you guys can see this, and keep that bend of the hook there. Try and keep the bend clear. You can see that. Bind it on nice and tight. Make sure you don't overlap like that. So the elastic is over the point of the hook, go round, and then gradually work your way on binding the ragworm together, there's bits of squid together, and this other one's going to slide down on the hook. This one won't be too bad. Just a half hitch to finish off with. Give it 2 half hitches. Pop. Always put your thread either by your bait or where let's put it in there, guys, where you know it's safe. It's all too easy to lose on the beach. And then this one is just a straight pulley rig. It's not a pulley pennel. Pennel has 2. I don't know if you guys will see this here against that beautiful blue sky. There's my bead up there. There's my lead clip, and this slides down, up and down like this. Here's my bait, and I'm going to pull my bait down like this till I can clip it. It's always difficult to do when you're filming this. Clip it just there. Get in the bend of the hook. Hopefully you can see it in the bend of the hook there. And now it's all ready to post out to the crabs. Same principle, guys. Now look, I'll show you. There is the knot. I'm going to undo this, let a few coils spill down, and I want that leader knot there. You can do this with tapered leaders even if you want, and this totally tangle free, hopefully. A few turns. It's taken me 6 seconds, 10 seconds. You don't have to do it, it's just my way of doing it. It's what I've been doing the last few years, and it seems to hold me in good stead. Let's see if we can post this puppy out there. Now you can see here, look, I don't know if you can see this, it's fallen right back. It's dropped right back. I think I've got maybe an hour before slack water. Let's post this guy out there and give it a good swing. Gosh, 450 yards. In your dreams, Graham. About 110. Doesn't matter if you cast 40 yards if you get fish out of it though, does it? Not into all that superhero casting. Mind you, I'm not catching anything as well. Ease that drag. In the low level butt there. In there. Testing. You can hear it. Just take the tension up, and I'm going to do the same with the other one. Bring this one in. Whoa! Bite. There we go. I am due a fish, for sure. You know when you're owed? Well, trust me, I feel I am owed. I've fed these crabs enough. It's time the crabs got eaten. I just feel a turn of the tide might do it. And there is on the end of this, nothing. Yee-hee. I'm having a walk around now, it's so dead. I've left my rods in there. Now I've dropped down once, you can see from way up there on the top, I've dropped down to there, but just look how far it's gone out now. This is a spring tide, you can see how far it goes out, but look how here can show you now. There's a demarcation line there between the shingle and the sand. Now if you're up there, you don't have to cast more than 30, 40 yards, if that, to get into this area. And this, where these broken stones are, is where a lot of fish come in close to shore. Definitely further offshore, cast in further, you know, you open up the ground for case you can catch bigger fish. But a lot of big fish will come in here hunting flatfish, so don't neglect that area. You know, check everywhere out at low tide and just have a look at it. And you can see here, lovely, lovely clean sand. I'm just going to walk up and have a look at this rocky outcrop. Look at this current going out. This is why I like coming on beaches. There's always something different to see. All these little channels going down like little rivers. Now, people, here's a tip. This is going to be fish filled knot, I imagine. That's my rods get dragged in. Do not walk on this stuff when there's green algae or weed all over the rocks. Try and walk around, and you can see this is slimy weed. It's very, very dangerous, very slippery. You're better off going around till you get to some dry rocks and then climb up. Sun's been on this. This should be okay to climb on, hopefully. These are all sea defences. Old age pensioner dies as he falls down cracking rocks. Wow. Not many old age pensioners still doing what I do, I can assure you. What a view. Wow. This is where I should be fishing from. Beach stretches all in there. I'm not going to bother walking across here. You can see way over in the distance the land all the way through to that island over there. These are gargantuan. Look how they've been cut out. God almighty. They must have drilled down, I don't know. That is an immense slab. But these are called sea defences, and they're put here to stop. If you look at the sea here and look at the land there, that hump of shingle goes up and over. So the height of the sea here is not much difference from the height of that entire village holiday complex in there. Hence the fact this is here to break it up. Now, you ask yourself, why is it not in there? Do you know what? I don't know, but I figure this is a tidal area, so this is why the fishing might be good around this end. Tide at the moment is just dying, ebb is going that way. It's going to go slack, and then it's going to come back this way. And this is where you couldn't really fish off the top here, because look, you'd be at high water, it would look great. Top over there. At high water it would look great, but look at all the snags you go into. Probably on the end there casting across, but hey ho, you could do that nearly from the beach. But what a view. Look guys, I'm not catching fish, but with views and weather like this, does it really matter? The answer to that, of course, is yes. Back to the rocks. Don't fall, Graeme, because there's no one to save you today. I did see a guy in the Scilly Isles once. We were night fishing for conger, a group of us, and a guy fell down in the pitch dark at 2 o'clock in the morning, some cracks. We heard his tackle box go. Not one person in our group left his conger rods to go and help him. We all shouted, "Are you okay, mate? Are you okay?" And there was a bit of a groan, and after he'd gone, he was damaged and bashed up pretty bad, but we got him out. And obviously later everybody went down and tried to get down and raid what tackle box was left and pinch all his swivels and hooks. Yeah, shocking lot really, haven't we? We had some conger that night too. Bullass, dogfish. Ours are silly. Off Pen in his head, is it, I think? Oh, nice little excursion. I can't believe there's nobody else fishing. Well, I can, because it appears there's no fish. Oh yes, I've got another tip to give you in a minute. Let's get back. I feel sure if I hang on another 6 hours until it's dark, there's a chance I might pick something up. But basically I'm trying to give you guys some tips. Now listen, it's getting near low tide, but the low tide I got about 4:30, 4:35 was about a mile that way. It's going to be different up here. So when you get somewhere you're not sure how far down to move your gear as well, get a handful of stones, dry stones, put them down just before where the waves are breaking here, like this, and then you can see if it's still going back, fine, you're okay. If those stones start to get covered and they'll be white because they've been dried out by the sun, then you know that the tide is starting to flood in. You know, it'll get you perked up, but you can also know to keep an eye on your gear as well. Many times have I seen my gear get virtually washed away. Let's get some stones. Just leave those there, and when they get covered, you'll know the tide's starting to come in. Now, this is a tip for beginners really. If you cast a long way out on your nylon monofilament line, don't just wind like this. Don't just grind it on, because it goes around here. Imagine it like stretching a rubber band, and it goes around very, very tight, and you're doing it under constant pressure. And generally monofilament, standard mono, is reputed to stretch about 10% of its length before it breaks. That is, of course, say, 100 yards, 10 yards before it breaks. Different lines, different breaking strains, I guess, will take different lengths of stretch. If that's all stretched up on there, your next cast, when you cast, will go boom, and it will fly off. So that's a chance to get, yes, a snap off, a tangle, a crack off, something like that. So better, I find, always, you can wind down fast, get the lead off the deck, wind up, and you retrieve the line on the downward stroke as you go, like this. That way, you're trying to wind the line onto the spool at a constant rate, and therefore when it comes off, it won't have that extra energy stored up from that elasticity. Well, can I say that? Elasticity or stretch. And that way, when you cast next time, it'll be much easier, much safer for everybody. If you have a crack off, I hate crack offs, everybody gets them. It's just a waste of good fishing time. By the way, 3 hooks. The crabs are back. It's not looking good, is it really? Well, you're so going to love this, guys. Although I've caught nothing and only came down here to do a bit of filming and maybe luck out, some guys came up just now. Tide's on the flood, by the way. No wonder I'm in the right spot, for goodness sake. Guy last night had a 50-pound stingray. Right there. Just up there, according to these guys. Now, I heard about a 52-pound stingray when I got the rag worm, got the bait. He said a 52-pound stingray caught, but generally a lot of those stingrays I think are caught south of the New Forest area, in the Solent. Didn't know they get them up here, bar the odd ones. Certainly 50-pound stingray. Then the guy who was collecting these spider crabs, which are all the rage bait here at the moment. So bait fashion of the day is, down here at the moment, spider crabs. No, he did offer me one, but I refused it because I want to catch on my squid and rag combos. Anyway, he said, "You're sitting a bit far from your rods, mate." I said, well, I've got them backed off and I've got electric alarms on them, which most beach guys won't know. They're freshwater alarms that I've rigged for this exact scenario with the drag backed off with smoothhounds. But he had a giant smoothhound, took his rod, he said it went like a javelin into the water. Aerial, didn't touch the gravel, must have gone flying in. 400 pounds worth of tackle gone. OMG. So yeah, actually, although I caught plenty of smoothhounds off the shore before, I am sitting a little bit closer to my rods. It's the thought of that 50-pound stingray. And of course, got my daughter's birthday tomorrow, so I'm banned from going tomorrow. How late can I tough it? Can I put a 12 or 14-hour session and hang on here with enough bait for a chance this evening? And the night shift turned up already. Guys coming along all the time. Well, guys, just look there. That is a sight to behold. Sun setting. I've got a fish hooked up. Right species, wrong size. I've got him down there just on the edge, in amongst the weed. A little smooth hound, but I'll tell you what, oh man, it saved the blank for me. There he is. How he's got, I saw a little tapping bite, how he's got that squid and rag combo in his mouth. There's not much rag left. You can see the, it's turning around from the sun, you guys see him. It's got Piccadilly Circus up there now, but you can see a little small one. So that is a smooth hound. He's going to go straight back. Predatory eye there. I want to see his granddad. That also means I'm going to be staying a little bit later. Away you go. Right, calls for, with that sun going down like that, some fresh bait. Re-grip the lads. Let's see if I can hold out and not fall asleep on the way home. All these guys are on holiday or they live down here and they live close. I live 1 3/4 hours away. Nevertheless, I've saved the blank. Oh yes, please. Oh, there we go. Might have a bit of a thumping headache coming for not drinking enough on a hot day, but it's the way it is. I luckily bought some water. And I'm ready to fire that baby out into the ocean. So here we are. This is a ragworm going on the hook. The idea with the worm is to thread it right up around, starting with the point, threading the whole body up the line. Now, when you get to the top, if you cast hard, this worm could slide right up the line, up the snood and be away from the hook. So what you have is a sequin. The sequin, little silver disc here, it's a dress disc, goes down on top of the worm, helps hold it in place. And then you have, let's call it a rubber stop, because there's different types of stops you can get. That is quite tight on the line. That goes on top of the sequin and pinches the worm in place. So it stops the worm sliding up the line. It keeps quite a bit of the bait down the lower end towards the hook area there. And of course, when you do look at the front of the rubber stop and sequin, let's turn that around. You can see there's quite a bit of silver flash to that sequin. That's why they're called sequins. That could just get you that extra fish. Be able to see him, nice little bass. Pleased with that. At least it shows you it's worth toughing it out to the last minute. And of course, I'm going to have yet one more cast. It's going to be like a 14 or 16 hour session for me. Great fish. Back he goes. There is something nice about catching bass in there.